Hi, I'm your host, Christian Cristiano. Welcome to Wellness for Realists, where we help you live a healthier, more satisfying life. Since the beginning of time, there has been nothing that bridges cultures and brings people together quite like music. It can be used to relax us or as a catalyst to inspire us to move and dance. In the past few decades, neuroscientists have delved deeper into understanding the brain and its association with music. They have now proven that music has a direct line to the emotional state of our beings and that different music can trigger emotions and memories of all kinds. Music activates the amygdala, which helps to form and store memories, and the prefrontal cortex, which is where we experience a spectrum of emotions ranging from joy to grief. Together, these two parts of the brain help to determine the essence of who we are. One of the most fascinating discoveries is the relationship between these parts of the brain and music. During brain imaging scans, the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex are stimulated while listening to music. And different types of music affect these parts of the brain differently, proving that music helps to decide how we feel. In one study, people first listened to different songs that were either uplifting and happy or sad. Then the participants were shown pictures of a neutral facial expression. When the song heard previously was happy, the people would report the picture as a happy expression. And when the music was sad, the opposite was true. What this study shows is that music physiologically changes our mood and the way we experience the world. Have you ever wondered why certain songs make you feel a certain way? Music can bring us to tears or have us standing and dancing in the blink of an eye. How about when you are not able to get a song out of your head that you've recently heard? Using brain imaging, neuroscientists have discovered that whether you are listening to music or just imagining a song in your head, the brain is activated in a similar manner. The auditory cortex, used to hear music and sound, is activated almost as strongly when we imagine music as when we listen to it. Simply imagining music also stimulates the motor cortex, where we experience higher levels of consciousness. Have you ever had a song just seem to drop into your mind without knowing why or where it came from? Scientists have recently discovered that the parts of the brain used to listen to music externally are the exact same parts being activated when a song comes into our mind seemingly out of nowhere. They now think it is quite possible that this music is coming from the anatomy in the brain that governs the self and who we are at our essence. It seems that these songs are coming from our unconscious minds to heal something that needs healing or to remind us of something from the past that needs attending to. Music also has the ability to force our conscious minds to look at repressed or overlooked thoughts by bringing certain music from the depths of our minds with the intention of reminding us of something that needs to be considered. Music also has been scientifically proven to help alleviate depression, which is estimated to affect about 120 million people worldwide. There are two main types of music therapy that are used. The first one includes the therapist listening to music with the patient and then talking about the feelings that come up. The second is when the therapist actually plays music in an improvised manner with the patient to shift emotions or calm anxiety. There are other forms of music therapy that does not require a therapist, like listening to music in a group, music in dance, painting and music, and improvised dance. Music therapy helps to give options to people already receiving treatment for depression and for those on meds. It can be seen as an adjunct or supplement to the treatment protocol already in place. And with the new studies on music and the brain, there can be real promise for a more standardized and proven music therapy system in the near future. We are excited to have Michael A. Levine in the studio with us today. Michael is a composer and songwriter for film, television, theater, and concert stage, as well as the score composer for the upcoming George Lucas-produced Star Wars Detours animated series. He also scored the Jerry Bruckheimer-produced drama Cold Case. Michael has a 10-year association with Hans Zimmer. He arranged the choir version of the Simpsons movie Spider Pig, and more recently, with Lucas Cantor, he produced Lord's spooky rendition of Everybody Wants to Rule the World for the Hunger Games, Catching Fire. Perhaps his most famous is the classic jingle, Gimme A Break, about Kit Kat. So, Michael, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you here. Tell us about what originally inspired you to go into music.
Well, that's, I mean, I loved music from the time I was very little and started taking piano lessons when I was about 4. But I think what inspired me to go into music professionally was that I was a computer science major at the University of Wisconsin and would go from days in the computer science center where there were guys with pocket protectors and fluorescent lights to evenings where I was playing with my rock band and cute girls thought I was attractive. And that it seemed like an obvious choice. I went to music school after that.
Nice. It was a done deal after that. Excellent. When we were talking before the show, you mentioned that music never betrays you. And that quote stayed with me. So tell us more about what that means to you when you say that music never betrays you.
Well, I was talking with a friend who was going through a rough patch, and he was talking about how he had been screwed by this business deal and this guy who had taken his money and so forth. And he'd kind of stopped playing music as a result, and it was a great shame because he was quite talented and had a lot to offer the world. And what I said to him was, well, look, people will betray you, the music business will betray you, but music itself will always give you back twice as much as you give it. And then we got together and we jammed and we had a great time, and he's been writing some songs. It's not like his life instantly got better, but it got a little better.
Nice. Excellent. So something that you've been working on that's important to you is Score, the concert. Tell us about that.
Well, it is now complete. We hope to do it again, but it was the first ever concert of music written for television, done with a full orchestra and choir at Royce Hall, and this was in my capacity as a governor of the Television Academy, who are the folks who give out the Emmys. Okay. And we had Downton Abbey, Walking Dead, House of Cards, The Simpsons, many, many shows represented, and the composers of the shows in most cases came out and conducted their own work. And Bear McCreary, who wrote the music for The Walking Dead, was attacked by zombies. That was planned. And we had a sword fight during Game of Thrones, and so it was fun.
Very cool. And the job as governor for the Emmys, what does that entail? Tell us about that work.
Well, it's a lot of fun. It's more work than I thought it would be. And
how long is the position?
It's for a couple of years, and then I get to be reelected if I so choose. I've, as a result, met so many talented people and have gotten to be a witness at this really incredibly crucial moment in television history where there is this enormous shift happening in for both user reasons and technological reasons that is providing this explosion of content. And the very definition of television is something that the Television Academy has been wrestling with. And we've decided to make it much more inclusive. So many things like this show is a television show by the definition of what we're operating under now. House of Cards was created specifically for Netflix, which at one time believed it was not eligible for a television award, and then, much to their surprise, they found out they were.
Interesting. Interesting, yeah. So you mentioned that music is kind of gaining more respect in the TV world. And I was kind of surprised by that comment because I think about songs from classic TV shows like Cheers. Pretty much everybody can sing that. So in my mind, music already is so important in music. How is it that music is becoming more important in television as opposed to in the past?
Well, that's an interesting point because theme songs had their heyday in the 60s and the 70s, and there's lots of shows, Gilligan's Island and the Beverly Hillbillies and all that, and they were wonderful theme songs. But actual scoring, particularly for dramatic shows, tended to take a back seat in comparison with, say, film. And part of the reason for that is because it was really technological. Film would deliver something with these giant speakers and surround sound and so forth, and television was this little 2-inch thing that was delivering this tiny sound. But all of that's changed in the last 15 years, and you combine that with the fact that the formats have changed, so that part of the reason all those theme songs disappeared was because the networks needed to sell advertising. They were so desperately afraid of losing their audience during that period that they considered a dead period, and they also needed the time to sell for advertising. Well, now that there are all these other formats, whether it be Amazon or Hulu or Netflix or this or that, the market pressures are different.
So now people can, you mentioned scoring music now for television. Tell the layman what that means, because some people don't.
Well, that's a really good question, because people often say there are many misconceptions about what television scoring is, but in general what it is, it's music that is played underneath dialogue or action that tends to be instrumental music, usually not songs with lyrics, which really fall into a slightly different category. And its function in a television show or in a movie or in any dramatic context it's used in is really to emotionally move the story along, so that it's the subconscious of the story. Okay. You may see the action, you may see what's going on, but what's happening inside the characters' heads is usually, you know more about that from the music than you know simply from the words alone.
Sure. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So tell us about the new rendition of Lord's song, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. We know that that's gaining a lot of attention right now.
It is gaining a lot of attention. It's a song which was originally written and performed by Tears for Fears back in the 80s, and it was kind of an up-tempo, happy little tune with some very dark lyrics. And Lucas Cantor and I were approached last year by Peter Shurkin at Select Tracks to ask if we would do a really dark version of it, and they said, well, we've got this young singer that nobody's heard of. Her name is Lorde, and she's in New Zealand, and so we did this thing, and she did a bang-up job, and what we had written it for, what we had arranged it for, we didn't compose the song, what we had arranged it and produced it for, they didn't want it, and so they ended up using it for Hunger Games Catching Fire, where it got a lot of attention. Now, suddenly it's being used in many other contexts. Assassin's Creed is using it for their trailer right now, and it's a wonderful trailer. It's very clever how they used it, and there are a number of others, Dracula Untold and a few others where it's being used.
Excellent, very good. So Michael was nice enough to bring his harmonica with him today to the studio. He's going to play us just a little short something. Well,
yes, I am a violinist by training, a keyboard player by necessity, a guitarist by aspiration, and a harmonica player just to annoy people. So.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
I'm not quite sure how that's relevant, but that got me through high school.
Definitely relevant. Do us a favor and let our audience know how they can find you, as far as your website, your blog, anything like that.
Well, if you look for Michael Levine Music.com on the web, you will find me. You will also find me on Facebook as Michael A. Levine Composer, and on Twitter and various other annoying things, but those are the two best ones.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming in today.
My pleasure.
It was a lot of fun hosting you. All too often, people walk in the door and turn on the TV like it's a lamp. Now that you know the healing power of music is rooted in history and science, we challenge you to turn off the TV and turn on some music. If there are unhealthy time drains that you're participating in, maybe you can replace that time with music instead. I suggest you go to your digital music source and make different playlists and title them accordingly. For example, one can be called inspiration, relaxation, etc. In the morning upon waking, add the inspiration playlist to your morning practice, whatever it might be. When you're at the gym, if you use music, be sure to make a playlist that is uplifting and energizing. Finally, be sure to use music to heal your emotional state. Studies show that you are better off listening to sad music if you are feeling sad. This may be because it helps you go deeper into the feelings that need to be processed so you could come out on the other side of them. We wish you happiness and health, and please be sure to keep in touch with us on Twitter and Facebook and let us know if you have any questions about your health and wellness plan. For more Wellness for Realists, be sure to subscribe to us at emPOWERme.tv. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and you can find me at acupuncturebychristian.com.